It is 6:30 p.m. and I would like to call to order the March 15th, 2023 regular board meeting of the Niles, Maine Library Board to order. Margaret, please call the roll.
Thank you. Trustee Derblick?
Here.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Here.
Trustee Makula?
Here.
Trustee Wozanski?
Here.
Trustee Olson?
Here.
Trustee Keene?
Here.
Trustee Kadir?
Thank you. Item 3 on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Could we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I will reiterate the rules for our board meeting. As board president and presiding officer, it is my responsibility to preserve and
Point of
maintain
order.
decorum at all times during official meetings of the library board. As such, this board will not tolerate outbursts and interruptions during our meetings. I am asking that each member of the public respect that and to conduct yourself accordingly. If, on the other hand, you do interfere with the orderly conduct of the meeting or you persist in disorderly, disruptive conduct, I will have you removed from the meeting. Oh, by the way, your request is denied. Any
That is
conduct
correct.
which interrupts the consideration of library district business is considered disruptive, including but not limited to shouting out, clapping, snapping, hissing, etc. during the meeting. Public participation and comment will be permitted during the public comment portion of the agenda, consistent with the library rules. Remarks shall be made from the speaker's podium only. Abusive and profane comments will not be permitted and will promptly be ruled out of order. If you persist, you will no longer be allowed to speak. The board vests in me as board president, the authority to terminate the remarks of speakers who fail to adhere to the rules. Individuals addressing the board must at all times adhere to the library policies and other rules as may be necessary for the efficient and orderly conduct of the meeting. All public comments shall be addressed to the board as a whole, and no comments shall be addressed to individual members of the board, library staff, or other members of the public body. Policy 3.27. Thank you. I also want to state that according to 5 ILCS 120 Open Meetings Act, any person shall be permitted an opportunity to address public officials under the rules established and recorded by the public body. Item 4 on the agenda is public comment. Cindy, please call the first person for public comment.
Gerald Sapansky.
Thank you. My name is Gerald Shapinsky. I'm a 46-plus year resident of Niles. Just a quick background, I was a member of the United States Air Force, maintained 2 top-secret crypto clearances while working for a U.S. intelligence mission, reporting to the NSA. I have a BS degree from Loyola University, Business Administration and Accounting. I was a corporate budget-setting accounting team member, was a cost accountant for a manufacturing company for 7 years. And then I switched to IT. I was an accounting planner, strategic corporate company merger manager. An IT, computer operator, programmer, systems analyst, database designer, director of IT, and director of electronic data interchange. And I was a senior consultant for an IT consulting firm. The reason I'm here today is to really speak about behavior. Let's go back to the December 27th, 2022 meeting, and I shall refer to 3 female trustees to the right of the board president or to the left of the president in front of me. At that meeting, if you go to the video, you will see data, the favorite words of those 3. At that meeting, they said they're not interested in data. Why do we need data? I'm tired of hearing statistics. Do you check your bank accounts? Do you check your checking accounts? Oh, no, you take the bank's word for everything. That's why we need data to discuss things and review them and bring them up. The three female trustees that made these statements should receive an Academy Award for their childish behavior at previous library board meetings. The raising of their arms, the folding of their arms.
Well,
And
you don't want me to raise them.
Excuse me, no comments directed to individual trustees and
They're
trustees.
bowing of their heads in front of
refrain
them.
from answering.
How about grabbing the board president's gavel? What theater? Mr. Mayor, village trustees, and the people of Niles, please go to the library board meeting of 12/27/22 at the nileslibrary.org under Freedom of Information Act and just view any and all other library board meetings in the 6 past months and factually see for yourselves the behavior of the 3 female trustees I have mentioned. I am sure you would find a way to throw them out of one of your own meetings if they were trustees. I know they wouldn't have a job the next day in the public sector. If I were mayor or village trustee, which I'm not, I would ask these 3 for a newspaper and verbal apology to the people of Niles for their behavior. Getting data is the method of challenging hearsay. You ask for data on specific topic, then you review it, then you evaluate it, and then consider what action should be taken after evaluations. This is what your job should be. The library director should be fairly challenged to provide data to the trustees and give reasons to why he or she is for or against a particular issue. Trustees or the public shouldn't base their judgments on hearsay. See the facts and politely discuss them. And the things I see on social media are just totally insensitive, hearsay, baloney, BS. And your trustees, you want the people of Niles to vote for your type of behavior? Go to the videos and watch them. I've watched them for 6 years. You don't interrupt and fold your arms and put on a performance. I like it. I laugh. To me, it's enjoyment watching some of this. I feel sorry for the 3 over there doing their job. You want information on computers? I have a background in it. You have 24 of them downstairs. There's about 3 people down there now. Based on 250 days a year, 8 hours a day, it's 2,000 hours times 4 computers. You have 48,000 available hours on those computers. Now, why do you need 24 of them? Okay? I'm not saying that's right or wrong. You discuss it. What do you need 48,000 hours for? You could not teach, instruct at home on the internet. These buildings are going to be going away in the future. You won't be here probably. You'll be on a computer. I don't particularly like it, to be honest with you, but that's what we're heading for, not physical assets. Okay? Think about it, please. Be adults and discuss items. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you.
Elliot Osherman.
Good evening, Board. This is Elliot Osherman. As usual, I provided copies of these remarks to your Executive Director for distribution so you can follow along. I see Madam President is already busy writing away. Apparently, I'm not number 1 in her book. I guarantee you she's number 2 in mine. As usual, I'm addressing the comments to the entire Board. And as usual, I start with my 9 declarative sentences that I will need to be interrupted nor silenced. Please see the poster of Dennis the Menace. Nor will we, nor will the community. That I will remember this, that we will remember this, and the community will remember this. And that I will vote between early voting starting on the 20th of March at Niles Village Hall or Des Plaines Library or the Glenview Village Hall up till Election Day of April 4th. And we will vote, and the community will vote. Last month, I brought a copy of Policy 327 regarding public comments. It indicates the public has the ability to ask questions of the board. I had sent an email on the 8th to Madam Derblick asking quite simply, are rules enforceable if they do not exist in writing? Thank you for your response. Her response was, thank you for your email. I am unclear regarding your question. Could you please explain in more detail? Don't get it. During the last meeting, when a board member asked for a copy of the changes in writing, she was directed to refer to the policy. Therefore, I have 4 sets of questions. The board has received a letter via email from the CAC explaining their concerns about public comments and procedures for public comments. The first question is, 1, have you changed any of the changes referred to during the February meeting about the nature of public comments and requirements or prohibitions? The second question is, have you referred this letter to the library's attorney for advice or comments? The third question is, have you, the board, or the library's attorney responded to the CAC? And the fourth question is, have you changed policy 327 since 2019? And if so, when, how, was it at a public meeting, and was it subject to a majority vote for approval of those changes? The CAC informed you that the public cannot restrict comments to particular individuals, as that is called addressing a public official. In your preface to public comments last month, you advised that the public that creative reference to certain individuals would not be tolerated. That is a restriction of freedom of speech. The writer of the letter quoted specific cases that prohibit such restrictions. Such a restriction is unconstitutional. He states that quite clearly. You also indicated during a preface last month to those public comments that sarcasm is not allowed, nor disrespect. As I mentioned last month, those 2 phrases are not in the printed copy of 327. Therefore, changes rejecting sarcasm or disrespect are irrelevant. At a board meeting in January of 2019, Madam Derblick, who was not president at the time, asked how the board can make public comment procedures more hospitable. Her actions since the election of April 21 have proven to be just the opposite. This is hypocritical. I'm tired of fighting the fight for freedom of speech. Last month, I quoted George Orwell in Liberty. This month, I need to quote Mark Twain. Never get involved in a war of wits with an unarmed person. I don't see the need to apply specific adjectives and descriptions to specific individuals. I'm tired of fighting the fight for freedom of speech in front of this board, which is disinclined to pay attention, disinclined to follow their own rules, and disinclined to obey their oath to defend the Constitution. I am keen on reclaiming our library. Also keen on voting for Botella, Kadir, and Trunco. Good night.
Thank you.
Kathy Toy.
Kathy Toy. I never thought I'd say this, but Carolyn, this one time only, I agree with your statement that you have repeated over and over again for the last 2 years. False and misleading information comes from the public sitting here in the audience. The false and misleading information was spoken by Mr. Fogel at last month's board meeting. He stated many falsehoods. I am going to concentrate on 2 of them. First, he stated that the library only purchased 2 Polish books last year. I FOIA'd all the Polish bookstore invoices from January through December 2022 and discovered that the library actually purchased 168 Polish books. Here is the proof. I think Mr. Fogel made that statement to promote his idea of a community book selection group. We don't need a community book selection group. We have educated and experienced librarians for that job. Second, Mr. Fogel said we do not have any original Polish books written by 3 well-known Polish Nobel Peace Prize authors. We, in fact, have books written by all 3 of the authors he mentioned. I don't believe Mr. Fogel even checked the world language stacks to substantiate his false and misleading information. Mr. Fogel has insulted the library's Polish book selector and outraged the Polish community here in Niles and the surrounding communities. If a person does not do their due diligence before speaking false and misleading statements, I do not believe that they should be elected to serve as a library board trustee. It's unconscionable that the president who approves the bills to be paid and the secretary and treasurer who sign all the checks to the Polish bookstores did not correct Mr. Fogel after he was done talking. The three of you let this false and misleading information go unchecked for the last 4 weeks. You should all be ashamed of yourself. Members of the audience, please remember that 2 years ago, Mr. McCullough said everyone
Excuse
should-
me, it is in our procedures that you're not allowed to directly
It's not
address
directed, it's a statement.
address
Thank you.
trustees.
Said everyone
And you
should
continue to do
assimilate
so.
English
You're mistaken.
and wanted to discontinue buying world language books. Now his running mate is not truthful in his statements. Do we really want these people on our board?
Excuse me, you're also not to
In
endorse or
closing,
talk
I'd
against
like to
candidates.
say, vote on April 4th so we can reclaim our library. Keene, Trunco, Bortillo, Kadir.
Mr. Folga
Thank you,
said
thank
we
you.
only purchased 2 books from Polish authors. Okay.
Excuse me, Kathy Toy, I'd like to address a few inaccuracies in your comments. Last month during public comments, the statement by Steve Folga was a request to expand foreign language literature by candidates for the
do not
Nobel
address
Prize
the
in
public
Literature
about their
during his comments. So I did, and you're mistaken, and the anger that has been
Excuse
drummed
me,
up in the
this is not
community
appropriate
is
behavior.
now taking this out of context.
You
In
do
addition,
not address the public during public
Excuse
com-
me.
You do not
Excuse me.
We
Quit
never
interrupting.
Get to address the public
in addition,
during public comment.
Kathy Toy, the president does not approve the checks. The checks are taken care of by by the treasurer and by the secretary. That in itself is also incorrect. So, and
You
Trustee
want
King,
us to list the lies going on?
you know what? I don't know how I can expect the public to come here and have a
Yes, well,
respectable
then
meeting
be
when this is
quiet.
the
Let's
outrage from the
continue
trustees.
meeting. Let's continue the meeting.
If you would have respect for the office, we could go on.
Can't handle the truth.
It is the truth, according to Carolyn. Thank you.
An abomination. This is
Again.
absolutely an abomination. Please call the next person for public comments.
You can start at the timer again.
Greg Bannock.
Good evening. I'm here to address the remarks made during last month's meeting about the Polish and foreign language book selection at the library. There were a lot of false claims that were not based in reality made during this meeting. There was a claim made that there is only a few dozen Polish books in the library. I personally searched the catalog, and I just went and searched by keyword Polish, filtered for the Polish language, and also selected Niles main library only. And I personally got 3,400 hits for adult books. So it's off by more than a few dozen. There were also comments made that the selection is xenophobic and racist because most of the books are American translations, Polish translations from American books. I asked the librarians, they told me that 1,500 books are authored by Polish authors. So, yes. I would also like to bring up the false claim that there are only 2 books purchased for 2022. As Kathy said, there are 168 purchased. We have receipts with timestamps and everything like that. There was also a claim made that Henryk Sienkiewicz, Czesław Miłosz, and Ryszard Kapuściński are absent from the catalog. Again, I searched the website, nileslibrary.org, for your reference, and I found 4 books, 4 titles from Sienkiewicz in this library, 6 titles from Miłosz, and 6 titles from Kapuściński. It was suggested that in order to fix these problems that don't exist, we need to democratize the process and involve people of the public. There's already a button on the website that says suggest a title. So I'm not sure if this person missed this button, but I'm told that this button is taken very seriously, and the suggestions are purchased. It was also commented, it was asked, why would we come here? There are no books. Well, there's much more than books. There are magazines, there are recorded materials, there are films. There are also regular Polish book discussions, and there are regular Polish film screenings. So it's basically the end of my speech, and I'd like to thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for your public comments, and I just ask you to refer to the examples I gave the previous speaker about what was actually stated last month, but thank you.
And I suggest you get your hearing checked. Thank you.
Bogusia Morawski. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bogusia Morawski. I am a long-time resident of Niles, living in the district for almost 30 years, and I consider myself lucky to live here. I love Niles, especially its diversity and inclusion. I was absolutely thrilled when I found out that my local public library carries Polish language books and magazines, especially when Krystyna Benek became the Polish book selector. She not only buys the most anticipated titles, but she asks Polish language readers like my friends and I what kinds of books we would like to see on the shelves for the Polish collection. Krystyna also started the Polish Book Club around 8 years ago, and my friends and I are so thankful for this opportunity to read and talk about books in my native language by Polish, world, and American authors. That's why I found the public comments made at the last month's board meeting about the Polish collection false, unfair, and very disrespectful. Those comments were made by a person who clearly never walked upstairs to see the Polish books, never asked the staff about the collections, and couldn't possibly have looked it up by doing a simple search in the public online catalog. Otherwise, he would know better. I can't believe a self-proclaimed Polish leader could stand here at this podium and make such false statement to you. I urge you to listen to the staff and support them because they listened to us, the readers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Angie Malika.
Esteemed members of the board, honored members of the public, my name is Aggie Malika, and my family has been residents of this fine suburb for almost 2 decades. We are proud Polish Americans. We are a multi-generational household who votes, who pays taxes, and who speaks 2 languages, Polish and English. We live in a diverse community because we live in a diverse country. We are the melting pot of the world. And people like my grandmother Maria, who's 92 years old and has dementia, calls library, our Niles Library, a home because she can come here with my assistants and enjoy books that she can no longer read, but she can look at the pictures of her beloved Warsaw, that's capital of Poland, and she can enjoy those books and think back on when she was young and growing up in Eastern Europe. I'm here today because I was disturbed and quite frankly frightened when I heard of the remarks from last month's meeting regarding the Polish collection. I have spent many hours at this library working on my multiple business plans, studying for the bar, and participating in the multi-language programs. When I heard that we only have a few dozen books in Polish, I ran upstairs and was relieved to learn that the books, the thousands and thousands of Polish, Russian, Korean, Urdu, and Hindi books are still there. I'm delighted to know that the comments by the gentleman I have not met, but who is now apparently famous, are not incorrect. I would encourage this gentleman to double check his facts. I thank you for your hard work. As a household of many generations who love the library and use the books all the time, we would like to continue to come here to give you our hard-earned dollars, to support you, so we can get more books, so we can educate the next generations on various languages and on the diversity, that is not just a buzzword, diversity that makes us who we are, the United States of America. As I stood with you and raised my hand to my heart and pledged allegiance to this flag, the flag of an immigrant, of an American, of someone who is diverse. Thank you for your time. I do enjoy the programs at the library. Let's keep them coming. Thank you.
Jeanette Lee.
Good evening. My name is Jeanette Lee. My pronouns are she and her. I'd like to address some problematic statements made at last month's board meeting by a candidate for this upcoming election. He decried the lack of books in world languages, citing information that was just plain, false, and misleading. Lying is certainly problematic, but so is his proposed solution to a problem that doesn't even exist. He proposed the idea of a selection committee of patrons and staff to order books for the library. On the surface, it almost sounds like a good idea. Listening to patrons is a good idea, but this is not the way to do it. How in the world would a committee take into account all of the different perspectives of our incredibly diverse community? How would a committee of patrons possibly do a better job at selecting materials for our library than our librarians already do? Librarians have tools on hand to ensure the right materials are selected for our library. They have data as to what materials are most popular in our library. They have data including which materials are most popular in the general population. They know, for instance, that the Polish language materials are among the most popular books in the world language section, and therefore continually purchase more of them, even if a certain candidate thinks that that's not true. He is also ignoring the fact that there are already ways for patrons to request materials. First, there's always placing a book on hold from one of our many partner libraries. I've done this often, and my books generally come within a few days. Or if it is a book that our library should own, there is a form on the library's website where a patron can request a book to be purchased. I've also done this before, and the book I requested is now on our shelves. And there is even the good old-fashioned face-to-face option of simply talking to a librarian. As a matter of fact, I've done this too, and the book I requested in a discussion with a librarian was also purchased. Librarians do listen to patrons, and we don't need a committee to make that happen. He's also ignoring the fact that 3 of the trustees on this current board decided to eliminate the need for a new strategic plan. Do you know what part of creating a strategic plan is? It's listening to patrons. I remember responding to a survey when the last plan was being put together. Patrons' voices were heard, and their feedback went into the future planning of the library. But the same candidate who thinks a committee is the answer to his non-existent problem is running along with another candidate who sits in front of me and refused to entertain the idea of implementing a new strategic plan. Do they want to listen to patrons or not? Or do they only want to listen to their friends instead of an actual wide array of patrons? I wish candidates for this position would stop making up problems that don't exist and focus on the actual issues. For instance, there is a significant lack of programming for preteens. 10 to 12-year-olds are too old for Wonderground, don't want to be in programs with 6-year-olds, and have very little to choose from that is tailored specifically to them. They're in a black hole of programming, too old for many of the programs in KidSpace, and just waiting to be let into the teen underground. If only our library had adequate staff, there would be programming available to them. But when there isn't enough staff, then there isn't enough programming. It's simple math. Fix the problems that actually exist. Hire adequate staff, fix the leaking roof, and create a strategic plan where all voices are heard. Staff, patrons, board, everyone. Then you know what problems really do exist, and the library can go about improving its materials and services in a well-thought-out manner instead of just at the whim of a couple trustees and their singular opinions.
Thank you, Jeanette Lee. I just would like to bring to your attention that our roof is not leaking, and it was never leaking. So I know that's been repeated over and over again, but that's why the $700,000 roof tear-off was eliminated. It wasn't necessary. Just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Did you take off, what was that, 2 minutes off of, thank you. So now we-
Trustee Rosansky, could you please?
Trustee Derblick, I'm sorry. I was going to say.
Trustee Rosansky, I'm sure the secretary can handle the minutes, so
Well,
please just quit
especially if you
interrupting.
didn't keep interrupting public comments, she
Let's go
could.
into
Thank
meeting,
you.
please.
Steve Sanders.
You're so defensive.
Good evening. My name is Steve Sanders, he, him. My goal tonight is to commend the library staff on the job that they do and convey the community's appreciation towards them. It was an honor for me to be able to volunteer for the Maker Fest. I was helping patrons assemble the snowball game, right over there. I think we went through all of the Home Depot kits that were provided. The library was packed and there was not a second of downtime. This couldn't have happened without the hard work and dedication of our librarians. Because of this, they made the Maker Fest a success. Our librarians should be proud of what they put together and from the turnout, I think, and from the turnout from the community. Besides putting on fun programs like the Maker Fest, our librarians cultivate and maintain a great collection. There are very few items I have not been able to find within the walls of this library. This collection does not just include English books. Our foreign language selection is quite extensive, with over 3,000 volumes in Polish, over 2,000 in Russian, over 1,000 in Korean, and hundreds in Arabic, Spanish, Hindi, and Urdu. This collection has been carefully selected by our librarians through their expertise and from the selections made by the public through the library's website that has been mentioned previously. I imagine what this collection could have been if certain members of this board dedicated more time and resources over the last 2 years to our collection instead of pointless cutting that we ended up getting. Our librarians are the backbone of the Niles Main District Library. Without them, this institution wouldn't be as amazing as it is. Over the last few years, I have become honored to become friends with many of our librarians. Our librarians do a great job, and they should be commended for the work that they do for the community. I want to ask that you take a minute of your day to thank the librarians here for everything that they do for our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's everyone who signed up for public comments.
All right, thank you. With respect to the trustees, I would like to read the rules that govern the proceedings of the board. As a reminder to all trustees.
Point of order.
Your request is denied. As a reminder
Surprise,
to all
surprise.
trustees, as the presiding officer, I provide statements throughout the meeting which are not subject to point of order or orders of the day. To avoid interruptions, please refrain from outbursts while I preside over the meeting. As you know, the rules of parliamentary practice comprised in Robert's Rules of Order govern the proceedings of the board. There are certain rules contained within Robert's Rules with respect to decorum. By reminding you of the rules, I hope it will lead to a more civil and productive debate, which is one of the most important concepts underlying parliamentary procedure. Robert's Rule of Order number 7 debate states speakers must address the remarks to the presiding officer, be courteous in their language and deportment, and avoid all personalities, never alluding to the officers or other members by name where possible to avoid it, nor to the motives of members. Additionally, Robert's Rules of Order, number 43, decorum in debate, states in debate a member must confine himself to the question before the assembly and avoid personalities. All the trustees should refrain from disturbing the assembly, and you should encourage others to do likewise. Consistent with Robert's Rules, I am asking each of the trustees to refrain from speaking until recognized. Listen to the other side. Focus on issues, not personalities. Refer to any other trustee in a respectful manner. Confine remarks to the merits of the pending question. Refrain from attacking a member's motives. The measure, not the member, is the subject of debate. The application of Robert's Rules is the best method to enable the Board of Trustees, with due regard for every member's opinion, to arrive at the general will on the maximum number of questions of varying complexity in a minimum amount of time and under all kinds of internal climate, ranging from total harmony to hardened or impassioned division of opinion. Thank you for your cooperation. Approval of the minutes.
Copies, please, of these two statements that you've read.
Approval of the minutes is item number
excuse
5
me.
on the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve minutes of the February 15th?
I just asked you a question, Ms. President.
Please do not interrupt. It is not a time for questions.
I didn't interrupt. I asked you before you
Number
started
10 under
talking.
other is when you can ask any questions. Please refrain
Do you
from interrupting.
refuse to give me a copy of the document?
Do I have a motion to
Apparently,
approve
thank you.
minutes of the February 15th, 2023 regular board meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Dictatorship.
We have a movement and a second. We can now have discussion. At this time, I will call the trustees individually. Trustee Makula.
No comment, no changes.
Trustee Schoenfeld.
No comment.
Trustee
Yes, I
Roseanne.
have several comments and questions. First of all, were all the checks signed this month?
Excuse me, we're reviewing the minutes from last month.
Excuse me, whenever I ask them anything
you're
about
out of
money, you
order.
tell me this is when I'm supposed to ask it.
We are
So when
talking,
am I supposed to ask if all the checks were signed? Or am
Trustee-
not? I want to
trustee-
know when I'm supposed to ask it.
okay, if you're done screaming, I can reply. We are now approving the minutes from the February 15th, 2023 board meeting. If you have any questions providing those minutes, please make those comments now.
Okay. Now this is when I can ask about checks, because you keep changing when I can ask questions.
No, you ask about checks during the trustees' reports.
Okay, in the past, you've told me I have
No,
to do
that's
them under
not true.
payment. It is true. Do you want me to look back at the meeting to find out?
I
the
would
meeting?
like you to stop arguing. Do you have any comments for the minutes?
None.
Thank you. Trustee Olson.
No.
Trustee Keene.
No comment.
Okay, I see Trustee Kadir is not here.
stepped out of the room for a minute.
He'll be gone, I believe, 5 or 10 minutes. Margaret, could you call the roll?
You didn't put forth what we are voting on, have you?
No, this is just.
The motion is to approve the minutes of the February 15, 2023 regular board meeting. That's my first statement.
Oh, for the board, I'm sorry. I was so excited about the bills, I thought you were talking about
I know, and
the
I was
bills.
trying
And I'm sorry.
earnestly to explain to you this was
Yeah,
not the
that's
proper
quite
time.
all right, precious. Thank you.
Okay, so we're taking a vote on the minutes. Okay.
Thank you. Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keene?
Yes.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
7-0 passes.
I'm sorry, what was that, Margaret?
7-0 passes.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda, number 6, payment of the bills. Do I have a motion to approve operating expenses of $167,630.05, payroll expenses of $211,796.49, for a total monthly expense of $379,426.54?
I so move.
Second.
Sue is second, and I have Kadir
Was the
as moving.
resolution?
I don't
Okay,
know
we
if
have
me, Joe or me, one of us did it. I don't know who
You
did
did it.
Okay.
We have a movement and a second. Now we can have discussion. Trustee McCullough, any questions?
No question, other than the original monthly statement had the accumulations for the month were actually for February, not for March, but that's been corrected. We have the correct.
So we're
one.
talking about the income
the
consolidated
numbers-
statement
the
has
numbers
been
line up fine.
updated. Yes, thank you. All right, Trustee
No
Schoenfeld?
comment.
Trustee Rosansky.
Now this is when I can ask my questions? I'm asking you. Oh, you're not going to answer. Okay, so I will ask them. Were all the checks signed
All
this
the
month?
checks are signed.
Yes, they were.
Thank you, Joe. My other question is about check number 81544 for Kleinthorpe for $1,350. What did that cover?
I don't have a copy of the bill here.
Okay. Can you please notify me what that actually covers? Because that seems like quite a bit for 1 month. Thank you.
$1,000.
$1,350.
Okay.
And have we received any bills from our other attorney? I didn't see anything listed.
No, we haven't received a bill since the end of January.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Olson.
No comment.
Trustee Keene.
No comment.
Very good. Trustee Kadir.
No comment.
Okay, Margaret, please call the roll.
Trustee Dublik?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee McCullough?
Yes.
Trustee Rosansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keene?
Yes.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
7-0 passes.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda, number 7, trustee reports. I will start with the president's report. I received positive responses from avid readers in our community who were very pleased to hear the request by Steve Folga to expand foreign language literature by candidates for the Nobel Prize in Literature during his February public comments. MakerFest was a well-attended event. A big thank you to all of the library staff from various departments whose dedication, collaboration, and flexibility resulted in a memorable MakerFest experience for everyone. Through collaboration and flexibility of dedicated library staff from our various departments, providing daily library programs and events is attainable. I would like to commend Sasha in the marketing department for designing and producing the new signage for the Club Reads area. For years, signage, including directional and informational signs, has been a priority topic. Thank you for providing easy access to materials for patrons with the new signage, and I look forward to signage throughout the library by the marketing department staff. Thank you. Next are trustees' reports. Trustee McCullough,
Nothing at this time.
Trustee Schoenfeld.
I would like to thank Todd Mueller and for his overseeing with the Maine Township and for buying the Apple Pencil digital services, the 8 iPads, which will be a wonderful addition to our library, and the winter reading program of 48 patrons, which read 311 books, which I was very excited about as well. And then also I'd like to commend the individual who donated $180 to buy books honoring the deceased loved one. And also I'd like to mention for March 8th is Women's History Month.
Yes.
Are we planning to
do
or
anything?
did we do anything? I did not see anything in the library pertaining to that. And I was wondering if we can go forward, making some type of special arrangement to recognize and celebrate the social and economic culture of the political achievements of women that they've done throughout the years. Maybe we could do a documentary on women's rights, host a panel of discussion, or inspirational speakers. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you. Trustee Rosansky.
Of course I have comments because I actually use the library. Take and Make this month was a paper shamrock garland, really cool. Thank you, people downstairs who put it together. The portraits on the third floor are really enjoyable and unique. Please make an effort to go look at them. I really enjoyed the display in the children's department on the Festival of Color, Holi. Really interesting. I really enjoy the fact they speak to our different diverse community, and hopefully some of the people who don't even belong to those communities can learn also. I was going to speak to the statements of last month, but I think that was well covered. Thank you all for speaking to it. Thank you.
Trustee Olson.
Yes, congratulations to all the people involved in Makerfest. It was really a wonderful and exciting event. A lot of work. Please continue. Thanks to everyone else and the staff for all your hard work for this past month. And I also was going to speak to the inaccuracies that were spoken last month about the Polish community, and I'm so glad the comments, all of your comments, were wonderful this morning and this evening. This evening. So thank you.
Trustee Keene.
Yeah, it sounds like we're all hitting the same topic on the makerspace. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend. I missed out, but I wanted to thank the staff, and I know we had a lot of volunteers that day as well. So thank you to all the volunteers who helped make that a success.
And over 800 people.
And a lot of people, yes.
436.
I also attended the Chamber's morning meeting again last month and would like to stress the value in that relationship and all the programs that they put on here. Every time I've gone, they've been valuable to me, and I learned something new and make connections every time. So I'm grateful that we host them. I would like to ask the staff, the director right now, to reply. I'm sure we did have many Women's History Month things going on. Can you speak to that, please?
Unfortunately, I can't off the top of my head because I'm either last month or next month, but I'm sure that we did something. So I will research it and let you know.
It's just a shame for the public to think that we didn't do that when I'm absolutely sure that we did.
Yes, I'm sure we did.
Thank you.
Trustee Kadir.
I'm going to comment. Seems like I'm going to follow up on what everyone's saying. I came to Makerfest with my kids. My father also joined us. Everybody had a blast. My kids did not want to leave. Their biggest disappointment with Makerfest was that it ended. They were, sitting here making X and Y and Z, and then they finally ran out of time, and they were very disappointed that they didn't get to finish I think it was the snowball that they were working on halfway, and everything had to wrap up. We had tons of members of the community helping out. We had librarians going above and beyond. It was really just amazing. I found parking maybe a block and a half away just to tell you how many people were actually here. It was really incredible. And these are the kinds of things that make this library what it is. That program was really, really incredible. Again, want to thank the volunteers, want to thank the staff, those who participated, and those who made the other parts of the library run while MakerFest was going on, since MakerFest kind of took over every space, but there may have been some individuals who are coming in looking for something else as well, since it was obviously held during normal library operating hours. So again, a big thank you to everyone involved. It was really wonderful. There was an individual at the end, just a little comment, there was someone who was doing origami, and he asked if he could check out, he was one of the presenters at MakerFest, and he asked if he could check out a particular book. Cindy probably remembers this, because this was a rare book in the origami space. He said, I haven't seen a book like this in however long he hadn't seen it in, and he wanted to check it out. He had some issues because his library card elsewhere, I don't remember, it was in one of the western suburbs, was not active. I think it was Roselle. And so, but he was just really impressed by the fact that our library had this really unusual find in origami. So again, these are the kinds of things that obviously are we need to have, and we need resources to be able to implement.
So I can speak to the end of the story. The book was sent to his home library. He was very happy that I could tell him that, we would be happy to send it to your library, because he did not have a card at the moment. So, yeah.
Cool. Very good. Excellent.
Thank you. All right, thank you, trustees, for your reports. Next is the treasurer's report.
Secretary's report, I think, first.
I don't believe we have a secretary's report this month, but thank you.
February is the 8th month of our budget year. We received $823,000 in income. At the close of the month, we had $12,716,268 in cash and investments. Salaries for February were $216,046. Employee fringe benefits were $46,381, for a total of $262,427. We had purchases of $32,086 in library materials. This budget year to date, we have purchased a total of $391,112 in new materials. Library operating expenses for February were $25,239. General and administrative expense was $15,195. Utility costs for February were $6,572. Building and equipment maintenance was $14,704. Total expenditures for February were $373,742. Total expenditures for this budget year are $3,331,601.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Okay, if not, we will move on. The next item on the agenda, number 8, is the director's report. Cindy, I see your reports are listed. Did you have anything in addition to share, or?
Yes, I just have a couple of comments. I did, the question was asked last month about programs at the end of January, so I did run a report. There were 41 programs from January 15th through the 31st, and there were 21 programs the last week, the 23rd through the 31st.
What was this question to or regarding to?
In your director's, or in your president's report last month, you said that you had had an inquiry from the community that there were no programs at the end of January, and you asked me to research.
Oh, that when they searched programs on the website, they didn't come up for that period of time.
Yes,
and I
so.
was wondering if there was a problem.
No, there wasn't a problem.
'Cause it
might have been the way
showed-
they were searching.
Well, actually, I tried it myself, and it showed 2 programs a day for almost a week. And I had searched all the programs in the library, not youth in particular, not adult, because I didn't want to say anything until I tried it. So I did the same thing, and then I had a problem with it. I'm sure you can search now and see what was scheduled, but there seemed to be a discrepancy. I actually have copies. I did print screens. I'll show you. But my question was there a problem that it was not showing the programs that were available? Because I just figured it was a slow period.
No.
Okay.
I don't know what the
But
problem
thank you
was.
for looking into that.
Okay. Let's see. The donations that we received that were mentioned were actually in memory of a former library trustee, Fred Coudert, and he was on the library board in 2007 and passed. And so we have had $255 in donations to date in his memory.
Is that on the website? How are you collecting those?
It comes through the mail.
And
People.
how does the public know?
How does the public know?
Or
how
was
do
this
they-
his family that donated?
His well, friends of his family donated. So I don't know how they found out that he passed, but we're receiving the money.
Thank you.
Okay. And purchasing for the collection, and then the books have a memory plate in them, in his memory.
Very nice, very nice.
So you did receive the updated policy 3.04 that was passed, and that you can add that to your books.
Thank you.
And tomorrow, there will be a delayed opening, Thursday, March 16th, due to water line repairs. So the library will be opening at noon, so I wanted to be sure and restate that for everyone. The staff will also be arriving late, because there won't be any water in the building. So the third annual newsletter cover art contest is open, and the forms can be picked up in the vestibule in KidSpace or downloaded from our website. Submissions should be dropped off at the patron services desk. I did want to just take a look at the statistics sheet, and I wanted to point out just a couple of things. You know, we talk a lot about circulation of books, and it is a core function of the library, but we do other things here, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the other things. So the attendance was up. Visitors to the library was up 21% for February. And also just wanted to mention, you know, the numbers about the library card holders and the non-library card holders. So the way that this works is that every 3 years, well, every month, cards, it keeps adjusting the volume. Every 3 years, every month, cards are purged that are not used. Okay, so if you do not use your card in 3 years, it is automatically purged from the system, and that keeps the system current, doesn't have a lot of old cards in it, right? So it's a very, very dynamic system. And so I just want everybody to be aware that when you look at the cards, district cards that are removed and the district cards that are added, you know, they're often very similar numbers, and so that's why we're not really adding, doesn't look like we're adding users, but we are adding users. We are unfortunately also losing users. So it's just a constant churn. So
Cindy,
just
can I
wanted to
ask a
point that out.
question?
Yes.
Can I please ask a question in reference to that?
Yes.
When you, the card holders are not using their cards, do you send out like a little letter saying that we miss them, or, you know, like come back to the library or something, just as an initiative to try to have them use the card?
We do. We have been doing that. Sasha and I have been working on that in his department to actually get a list from CCS of the cards that are about to be purged, like a month or two ahead, so that we can send out, we miss you, and encourage them. They have to do something. They have to visit the website. They have to log into their account, place a hold. You have to do something to keep your card active. So we do reach out and encourage them to do that, and we do get some response. So yes, we are working on reaching out to people.
Thank you.
Mhm. Let's see.
Yeah,
Oh, this.
Cindy, do you have anything else?
Well, I do, if you have just a
Oh,
moment.
yeah, go right ahead. I was
Okay.
going to start with the questions, but go ahead.
Let's see. Well, the library services, services are a big part of what the library does. And so if we look at mediated spaces, users of mediated spaces, so those are study rooms, creative studio, maker space, all of those kinds of spaces. It's up 23.97% for the month. So that's a very big increase. We also look at staff-mediated equipment. So this is using the guest computers, using the computers downstairs, where people come here because they want to ask questions of staff if they're using a computer here. And so those are staff-mediated equipment. In Kid Space, in the Teen Underground, the laptops, the 3D printer, we have conversion equipment, all of that stuff. So all of that staff-mediated equipment is up 7.73%. So, and then we also have the mediated services, the staff notaries, passport agents, and the one-on-one instruction. There's quite a few people that take advantage of the one-on-one instruction. So all of those staff-mediated services, it's up 147%. So it's a lot of the reason that people come here other than just books. So I just wanted to point that out. It also makes it a very personal interaction, one-on-one, which is why we need staff to be able to do those things. The volunteers were up. MakerFest helped that number go up. Okay, that's what I wanted to point out about the statistics.
Thank you so
if anybody
much.
has any questions.
All right, Trustee Makula, any questions?
No questions.
Trustee Schoen?
Community organizations and meetings in the library. Do you charge stipends for them to rent out the facility?
Only if it's a commercial business. A non-for-profit or a community organization, there is no charge. It is a service we're providing.
Well, on 1, 2, 3, 4, the Niles Coalition,
Which one is that one? Oh, 25, one moment.
on page 25,
Yes?
are you charging them for that space?
No. Are they a for-profit business? So they fill out an app.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Rosansky?
No comment, thank you.
Trustee Olson?
Yes, Cindy, are all the desks manned with a librarian or some kind of volunteer?
Not a volunteer. The desks are manned with staff, but not all open hours, if that's your question.
Not all the time.
No, not every desk is staffed all the time.
You're right. I just wanted to clarify that. And in the past, have they been manned?
They've been manned more in the past. I mean, we haven't always had someone sitting at the Commons desk since it was put in 2012. But other than that,
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Keene?
Thank you, Cindy, for pointing out some of the things that you did. I was going to mention them as well, and I'm grateful that we are able to have numbers up. And it's important to make the point that patron visits are up because some other people say that they're not, and they clearly are. It's in black and white right here. So I'm glad that we have some happy things to report. I don't want it to go unnoticed, though, that we are down 38 staff members since 2021. That's 37.25% of our staff is gone since 2021. And again, programming is down because we don't have enough staff. So we had 32 programs for youth last month compared to 49 the year before. 12 for teens compared to 28 for the year before, and that's due to not having staff. So I'm really glad and happy about the things that we are still able to do, but it is very clear that we need to have staff. Thank you.
Trustee Kadir?
I don't have any additional comments, thanks.
Okay, Cindy, I have just one question. I believe we received the pre-COVID numbers for the library on a quarterly basis. Is there any way we could get monthly numbers? Because it looks like we're unable to address, our growth or the lack of growth in the library if we don't have those numbers.
Can I ask a question about that, just real quick?
Well, I'd like her to answer my question if you don't mind.
So you'll be getting those in April, right?
Okay.
The first quarter report in April. So I am trying to put those numbers into a spreadsheet each month. So one
All right, I
reason why
appreciate it.
it's helpful and why I need at least a part-time data analytical person is because these numbers go in 4 places every month, and I'm sure it could be automated if I had the right person to do it.
Well, do we not have software that automatically picks up the numbers in
No,
different?
software has to be programmed. Doesn't, unfortunately.
And we've never had that type of software in the library?
No money.
I don't know what type of software it is. We have
usually
Microsoft
you're able
products,
to take
Word,
data and you're
Excel, yeah.
No, well, just data, and you're able to transfer it to different softwares for different reporting purposes.
Yes. It's not
Something we
it's
have.
not a push button thing that happens.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy,
Trustee Kadir, did you have a question?
Yeah, my question was just, were you saying that we got quarterly reports pre-COVID and monthly reports thereafter, or vice
Oh,
versa?
no. The figures for COVID, those reports are quarterly.
Okay.
And it helps sometimes to see the numbers monthly, but we'll be getting it in
Okay,
another month.
I was just trying to understand what you were
No
asking.
problem.
Got it.
Fine.
And Cindy, the reason it isn't automated also is because you haven't got the staff to input it except yourself. Like you don't have enough other things you're supposed to be spread thin, right?
Cindy, can I ask a question?
Yes.
So how many applicants did apply for these positions that are actually posted?
I don't have that number off the top of my head. We had quite a few,
Thank you.
especially patron services.
Following up on Suzanne's question, do we have any offers on the table yet?
Yes, yes, we have some offers on the table. I am reluctant to mention it until they actually arrive. I want them here in the building before I announce that a position is full. Or filled, because they're not here till they're here, right? So.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, number 9, new business. Do I have a motion to approve $52,522.76 to Bibliotheca LLC from the Capital Expenditures Special Reserve Equipment Fund for the mandatory hardware upgrade of Bibliotheca Selfchecks?
So moved.
I second.
Okay, Joe and Sue. Okay, we have a movement and a second. We may now have discussion. Trustee McCullough, any questions?
I believe the software is becoming obsolete and may not be usable for much longer, and I think we put off doing this last year, so we did budget for it, I believe.
Yes.
So it's time to do it, I think.
Okay. Thank you, trustee Schoenfeld.
Cindy, I have a question. In regards to the self-checkout systems at the library, they're going to have numerous benefits. What type of benefits are they going to be offering for the new system that's going to be implemented?
You mean upgrades to what we do already?
No, the system that's going to be scanning the books and,
So this is, on page 36, this is a replacement machine for the ones we already have. Like, we do already have the self-checkouts, but the ones that we have need to be replaced because Rich is here to speak to this. I don't want to say it wrong, but they're at end of life for the software, and the hardware won't support the new software. Close, Rich?
Absolutely perfect.
Okay.
Okay, that,
I hope that answers your question.
no, that's fine. So the hardware itself, so that the machines are all going to be replaced, the whole equipment?
Yes, it'll look like this now because we need to upgrade the software, and the old machines aren't capable of that.
Now, will they be also getting the stand as well?
No, they're all desktop models.
They're all desktop?
Yes, so they'll be placed on the counters at the front, so 4, and then the other 3 are also counter models.
And then it says here in the actual invoice that there's 7 of them?
Yeah, so there's 1 missing in the patron services area. So you can see there's 4 spots there, and then we have 3 more upstairs on the 2nd floor, the 3rd floor, and in youth services.
And then how, will it tally how many actual books are being scanned?
Yeah,
out of
it's
that
going to be
location?
exactly how it is now. So in the monthly statistics, those tallies are in there.
And then that data will be given to Cindy, or how will that be?
I'll let Cindy speak to that.
So let me just see here. I did include this, right?
I mean, roughly,
page
as Cindy
9?
is going through that, it's
Yeah.
about 85% of the checkouts of material, physical material that leave this building.
Excuse me, Rich, would you like to come out into the meeting room
Well, I have the mic here.
He can't walk.
to speak? Because I think it'll be difficult for the video to pick up your voice.
I have the microphone here.
Where are you?
yeah, we could hear.
Okay, as long as it can be recorded, that would be
Oh, yeah.
great.
He
I can
can't
see it.
walk. So no, he shouldn't come in here.
Okay, just one moment here. It's right here. So on page 22 of the statistics, I added it this month. I collect them every month, but I didn't always put it in here, but it is a new set of statistics. And it talks about the self-checkout payments. So people who actually have, if they have any fees or not really fines unless they get a fine from a book at another library, because we don't have fines here, but so 20 people use the self-checkout payment method. Self-checkout patron uses was 4,782 last month. Self-checkout items that were checked out and renewed, 18,661. Automated check-in and sorter use, 5,266. And automated check-in and sorter items returned, 24,307. So all of that is part of the Bibliotheca system. Okay.
And then one more question.
Okay.
In terms of the warranty,
Yeah, Rich, you'll have to speak to the warranty.
Sure. They come with 1-year warranty, and we're already in a contractual agreement with them through December of next year. So they will prorate this upcoming payment in order to, offer us that 1 year free.
and that's for parts and labor, or?
It is for software updates, any replacement parts of the existing machines, not upgrades, but replacement parts for if anything breaks.
And are they on call 24 hours?
They are?
But no
Their service window is smaller than the 24-hour by 7, but they have a 24-hour hotline for communication.
So then, they require $50 deposit, 50% of that?
Correct.
Then 40% for shipping? For all the actual quantity of the actual scanners that we're going to be receiving?
I'm not sure, is that a question or a statement?
No, I'm just confirming.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, a lot of the larger, for example, furniture, when we purchase furniture, we do 50% down as well. Certain projects require some amount of payment to be placed down, and then either it's at delivery or at after the job is complete, that's when the rest of the payment is. So in this case, yes.
Okay, and then in terms of actual products being delivered, are they going to be white glove delivered, or how's this going to be working? Are we going to have men on site to actually have this delivered to us?
Yes, they have technicians that will come. They'll have the items delivered, and then the technicians will come, take out the equipment, install it, and we will be doing one at a time, so patrons will not have any kind of interruption other than one machine or two being down.
And
All
will
the
our
questions you're
wiring-
asking are in the report.
And will our wiring actually be capable of handling all the actual new?
Yes, the issue that we have that's upon us is the fact that the hardware that we have is from 10 years ago, and it was able to go from Windows XP to Windows 7, but can't go beyond that, and so we need new hardware, and that's why we're asking to do this, because it's end of life, and we're not going to be able to offer the self-check service, which is 85% of our checkouts. So,
Thank you.
yep, you're welcome.
Trustee Rosansky?
Yes, hello. And I would like to say, we get these reports, we should read them. And then we don't have to sit here for however long listening to questions that are already answered. Thank you. And no more comments.
Trustee Olson?
No questions.
Trustee Keene?
No, the report was very informational. Thank you.
Trustee Kadir?
No questions or comments, thanks.
All right, Cindy, I have a couple of questions. From what I read, this screen will have additional options for the patrons when they're checking out books. Are we choosing those options, or have they been chosen, whatever the additional options are? Because I was wondering, are we using this equipment to check out books, or is it going to be now more of a mechanism for obtaining other information? I read somewhere where it talked about events or whatever's going on in the library or something, and I'm concerned by adding these additional options that checking out a book may take even longer. Will that interfere with just checking out a book?
I can answer that. We're not purchasing the cloud library option, so we're not getting any additional integrations with any kind of things like that.
Okay.
So exactly what the patrons see now, we're continuing the exact service. Just in order to do that, we need new hardware. That's what this is for.
Okay, and then it says project implementation on the last page that it says, after the project is awarded and a contract agreement is signed, a meeting is scheduled with your sales and project implementation teams so we can learn more about your current environment, business model, workflow, and goals to achieve this project, as well as offer consultation and guidance tailored to your project. I get the impression they're coming in after we purchase it to talk to us, or is this just part of a marketing sheet in their presentation?
It's a part of their standard proposal. With regards to us, it's very cut and dry. We're going to order the equipment, they're going to deliver it, schedule technicians to come out, swap out the machines, and that's pretty much the end of it.
Okay, so it's the replacement equipment is similar to the equipment that we're using now.
Yes.
All right, thank you. I just wasn't clear about that. I appreciate it.
I understand.
All right,
You might remember years ago, we had the cloud library from 3M, like before it was Bibliotheca, but anyway, we tried that for a while. We chose to not do it, continue it.
okay, thank you. All right, are there any further questions?
Just
If
thank
not-
you to Rich for being here tonight to explain it.
Absolutely.
Definitely, with your injuries.
Yeah, definitely,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Wouldn't miss it.
If not, Margaret, please call the roll.
Trustee Dublik?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson?
Yes.
Trustee Keen?
Yes.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
7-0 passes.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, 9C, action on the engagement letter for, do I have a motion to approve the engagement letter for Sikich comprehensive?
The mechanical.
What about B?
Oh, sorry.
Page 47, yeah.
Did I miss it? Okay, sorry.
Yes, you did.
9B, do I have a motion to approve $17,100 to Oak Brook Mechanical Services Incorporated for the capital expenditures special reserve building fund for the emergency replacement of leaking air conditioner coil coolant supply and return pipes and fittings on air handler unit 2 in the south basement?
I so move.
Second.
So moved.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we can have discussion. Trustee Makula.
Has this work been done already, or is this for a future contract, Rich?
Well, it's not a contract, it's a quote, and so we're asking for the board's approval in order to make these repairs
Okay.
and
And
to release funds from the special reserve building fund.
this is the cooling system.
It's part of the cooling system on one of the air handling units down in the south basement
Okay.
for the west side of the building.
All right.
All right, Trustee Schoenfeld.
Rich, I have a question. In terms of this new project that is going to be taking place from Oak Brook Mechanical, with this coolant supply piping and fittings, will that affect the air conditioner where we'll have to replace the air conditioner down the road, or is it going to be solid enough where nothing's going to happen?
So what we're going to do is at the air handler prior to where these pipes have corroded, there's two butterfly valves. These are valves that will shut off the coolant supply and return to the rest of the system. And they'll replace these particular pipes between those two header pipes, where the supply and return come, and where they go into the two coils to feed this air handling unit. So, I can't tell you that other parts will or not be affected by age. Obviously, this area has been affected by age, but this particular repair will have no consequence on, other things. They're going to isolate this area, drain the glycol. They will reuse the glycol, but it will be filtered through, and then we'll, turn the system back on. So.
And then, Rich, in terms of the actual pipes and fittings, has this just leaked recently?
Yeah, I discovered it during I do a weekly tour of all the mechanical areas. Obviously, now I have other people doing it with a cell phone and video and stuff. But it was middle of January, discovered the leaks that I have in the report, the pictures. And then you can see how on 118, you can see the saturation of the...
Speak up, please.
You can see the saturation on the 118 photo with the arrows indicating where the saturation of the insulation was, and it had finally saturated to the point where it started leaking onto the ground. So that's when we discovered it. Then we removed all the insulation from it, tracked down where the problem was. Then you can see those pictures. And then the area that's circled in the orange highlights, or the border, that's all the pipes that's going to be replaced. So it's all steel pipe that's going to be welded.
Okay, thank you, Rich.
Sure, absolutely.
Trustee Rozansky.
Yes, thank you. I had been on a tour of the area. I've seen the equipment, and I know we have quite a bit of equipment that will be needing to be replaced. This particular unit, I know what you're talking about, but at that point, it didn't need any repairs. So I trust our team, and if they say it needs to be repaired, it needs to be repaired. Thank you.
Trustee Olson? Trustee Keene?
1 second, please. Rich, I'm reading here what you mentioned about the butterfly valves, and the exclusion is that if the butterfly valves do not hold, the job will not be able to be done. What would happen then?
So at that point, it's going to be a larger job because we'll have to drain the entire system. And just to give you an idea, downstairs in the basement, obviously there's the pipes that are affected, but we also have the piping that goes to the 2 pumps. And then all that piping goes, one branch goes all the way across to the other side of the building to the, just underneath the roof for the air handler that's supplying the east side of the building. And then another branch goes through the entire commons area up to the 3rd floor and onto the roof to the chiller. So needless to say, we'll have lots of 55-gallon drums or maybe even a tanker to drain all that out in order to do the job. So it has to happen because at some point this leak is going to just keep on getting larger. Right now the system only activates at 20 degrees or below. Other than that, it doesn't cycle because it's a freeze protect on it. But come probably end of April, May, we'll have days that the chiller will turn on because the temperature will get above the set point that it needs to turn on. And when the coolant starts going through that pipe, it's going to start leaking more. And that's literally right now it's leaking, but it's not leaking as it was when it was really cold during the winter in January. So we'll have to do the job. It'll just be more expensive. So.
Thank you.
Trustee Kadir?
So, Rich, just one quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
And that is, if it turns out, are we voting, the 3 proposals we got, we're voting on one of them. Are all these companies equally as good in your estimation?
Yeah, we've had dealings with all of them.
Okay.
Oak Brook Mechanical was the original installer back in 1998, and we continue to use them for our quarterly maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
And then, secondly, if it turns out to be a bigger job, is that going to be done immediately, or is that going to then require a new, like let's say the shutoffs don't work, the butterflies, do then they fix the rest of it right away, or do they come back? Do you come back to us for approval? How does that work?
Right. If the shutoffs won't work, we'll know right away because as we drain, we'll not be able to, it'll just keep on coming. At that point, we'll assess what we anticipate the cost would be to drain the entire system. And then we'll talk to Cindy about it and either do an emergency request in order to get the job done.
Okay,
so luckily, since we're getting it done now, it's not going to affect building operations because we don't need the chiller. So it's not a situation where we would have to shut the building or anything like that. If this were to happen in the summer, well then we wouldn't have air conditioning, and we would definitely need to think things through.
So I guess what I'm asking you is, do you need us to approve just the first portion? I don't even know if we can.
Right.
But
yeah, we don't know
us-
because none of the companies could really estimate it for us. So
Okay.
that's why if I had that, I would have probably given it to you and said, please approve both of these just in case, and we'll only use it if obviously it's necessary. But no one would actually provide us with a quote for that in terms of draining the entire system.
So then what
They
happens
feel
in terms
pretty
of...
confident that the butterfly valves will hold.
Okay.
So I think that's part of the reason why maybe they were not willing to give us the quotes, because I had spoken to them. I had Dave speak to a number of the companies as well, and I think their confidence level is high that those butterfly valves will hold. And I don't know if they didn't want to give us those kind of figures. So.
Okay.
Rich, I just would like to expand on that question.
Yes, ma'am.
No one was willing to give you a quote. Does that mean should the valves not hold, that it's going to just be time and material, and when they're done, we'll know how much it costs?
Yeah, I think it's a little hard for them to estimate how much glycol or how much coolant is in the system, because the pipes are not exactly, exterior to the walls. They're inside and they make turns left, right. We have as-built plans from 1998, but in a few areas, those plans don't actually show as-built. It's actually taking a different path. And so, if a path is 10 more feet and they're 3-inch pipes, it can add many, many gallons to it. So I think that was probably part of it. And the fact that, I think they're pretty confident on the butterflies being able to be shut off and to hold.
But then again, back to if the butterfly valves do not hold, it'll be time and material. There won't be an estimate of given to us because they're unable to estimate the time.
It might
correct?
It might be the case, yes.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Well, our goal is to make sure that before the cooling season, that we do have this operational again. And obviously the big part is the replacement. And in order to replace it, you either have to stop, close off that section or drain the whole system. So, we'll forge on as needed to get it to work.
Right, I totally understand. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if there aren't any more questions, Margaret, please call the roll.
Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson? Yes. Trustee Keene?
Yes.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
7-0 passes.
Thank you. Okay. Now, the next item on the agenda is 9C. Do we have a motion to approve the engagement letter for Sikich Comprehensive Accounting Services for 2023-2025?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Makula, any questions?
No questions. I'm satisfied with this. We have the option to cancel, I think, on 30 days' notice at any point. Yep. And we've had that since we've been with them, so so far, so good.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Schoenfeld?
No comment.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes, thank you. I have a comment. My question is to Cindy. Cindy, did we just have this length of time for the letter, or did we have a shorter period, say a year?
The year is there, isn't it?
Yeah, the two options on the page.
Okay, okay. The way it's written here, it's for 2023 through 2025. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, yes. Well, I would like to have some continuity and calm.
I understand.
So if a
But-
couple of things didn't have to happen every year, it would be helpful. But there is an option here to do 1 year on page 61, or to
Okay.
do 3 years.
I thought I saw that, but when I saw this statement, it doesn't state that, so that's why I'm questioning.
Right. Well, I would like it to be 3 years.
I appreciate that you would like to have it 2 years. I'm not so sure I want to have it 2 years, so, thank you.
3.
She said
3.
three.
I would much rather have it for 1.
Okay. Well, it does cost more for 1, and you can cancel in 30 days' notice.
That's fine.
Okay, Trustee Olson?
This is for the accounting firm of Sikich. That we have had for how many years now? 3?
No.
No.
1.
1 year.
Just one?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see, I think the new board might have their thoughts about an accounting firm. So perhaps 1 year would be
Okay, Trustee Keene.
No comment.
Trustee Kadir.
Wanted to ask Cindy, who did we use before this? Did we do any of these services in-house, or
Oh,
was
yeah,
it all?
we had it in-house,
We had an in-house. So
business manager.
what happened? Was that Greg?
Mhm.
Okay, and so, what is the cost? Can you give me like, how much did it cost of Greg's time? I guess like to do this in-house versus what the cost was. I think the question here is are we going to be, if we do 3 years, are we going to be spending more money versus having someone a year from now come in and handle it in-house? I mean, is that going to be cheaper? That's what I'm asking.
I don't know.
Greg's salary was $120,000 a year.
Plus benefits.
Right, but he didn't do just accounting. That's what I'm asking. And because I don't know, I've got hourly rates here, but I don't know what, the charge is. I don't see it.
That was a good deal of his labor here.
Thank you.
How much did we pay last year? I don't have the numbers. in front of me.
His salary was $120,000.
No, not for Greg. For the
Sikich.
accounting. Like, how much do we pay for Sikich?
Oh, how much do we pay Sikich?
Yeah.
Sikich? My guess is around, I don't have the
Let me
exact numbers,
see
but
what it is
between
here.
50 and 60,000.
Is it? I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was 4 something a month.
Annually,
I didn't see
4,000 a month would be 48,000.
Okay, so around 50K.
Yeah, something. 50, maybe a little more because of the auditing and stuff.
Yeah, the auditing and the budgeting.
And Cindy, can you sort of address what portion of Greg's responsibility this was
Well,
it half
Greg
of what he
never did
does,
the
or-
auditing.
Okay, but the portion that he did, what percentage of his response? I'm just asking if it makes sense to bring this in-house or not.
Oh, God, no.
No, I can't speak to how much of his time was spent on it because he oversaw patron services
Yeah.
and IT and maintenance and marketing. So I don't know how much of his time was spent on accounting.
54. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Cindy, I just have a question. I realize the continuity in a 3-year contract would make your life, would have more consistency in your life. And also, I think what we need to remember, and since there's a 30-day cancellation, accountants are probably more favorable to work with you when they know they have a period of time. If we're going to use this accountant just for a few months or for 1 year, there's a lot that goes into the planning aspect of it, and they may not feel that they actually have a connection with us. And I think it makes it difficult to plan because you don't do everything today. You need months in advance to accomplish something. And if we're going to tell them only 1 year, I understand all of your positions. When we have after the election and the board changes, they may only want 1 year. But we can agree to the 3-year, cancel within 30 days for only a 1-year contract if that's the board's decision, but keep some continuity, at least right now. So I would think going with 3 years wouldn't hurt. It would just help us maybe to develop a better relationship with this company.
Actually, the 3-year contract for the charges for various services are for various levels of service are less money this year if we do take a 3-year contract. And if you notice, there's about $20 an hour difference in some of the services for various levels of accountants.
So it's a $42 difference if we go with the 1 year, for the pricing between 1 year.
The 1 year is...
I'm not done. Out the door compared to if we do it for 3 years, the first year would be $42 cheaper.
The first year would be the
then.
savings.
It would be $42 cheaper. As far as connection and continuity, that had nothing to do with your decision last month about the audit with Lauterbach and Amann. You didn't want to hire them for 3 years, so I don't know why you want to have a connection and continuity with one company and not another. That doesn't make sense.
Okay, Trustee Keene, I think there's a misunderstanding on your part. The relationship that exists between an accounting firm and the library is much different because there's monthly reporting, there are specific reports that need to be maintained. An audit is done on
I
his
didn't
own.
mention any of those
He
things.
comes in only one time during the year, and there's no continued relationship with the library, which is crucial when you have accounting services. So
Actually,
that's the
we've employed
difference.
Lauterbach and Ammon for many years, so there is continuity with them.
Okay, Trustee Keene, you're not grasping
You're
the
not agreeing
concept.
with
It's
her.
fine. It's fine. That's your opinion. Thank you.
It is, yes.
It is her opinion.
So are we, at this point, we will take a vote on this
Can I ask one more
motion, or
question?
shall we amend it? What is going on here?
Carolyn, I want to jump in one more time. So on page 58, which is page 2 of the proposal, it says, "Our fees for these services consistent with our proposal will be based on actual time spent on the engagement. See Appendix B. Services will be invoiced to you from time to time as work progresses. In accordance with the Illinois compiled statute, payment for all services are due pursuant to the Illinois Government Prompt Payment Act. The library and Sikich have the right to terminate the relationship at any time with 30 days' notice." My understanding of that is not just that we can cancel the contract 30 days from today, but 6 months from now, we can give them 30 days' notice and cancel it if we so desire.
Exactly.
Okay, so in that circumstance, I don't see that, like, even if we were to bring this in-house in 6 months, if we were to bring it in-house, we could simply cancel the contract. Is that your understanding as well, everybody else on the board?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And as per usual, they ask anybody else on the board, we get one response.
Is that?
Excuse me, he did address all of you. None of you chose to
Yeah,
respond.
does anyone else have a different understanding? Because what I'm seeing
I
is
didn't have a
you can
different
cancel it,
understanding. Thank
you can cancel it in 30 days at any point.
Yeah, and they worked, this past year, it was just a one-year contract. And they can cancel us anytime as well. So, it's just, if you want 1 year, that's fine.
So is there an amendment to this motion?
No.
No, do 3 years.
Okay. Margaret, please call a roll.
3 years.
On the 3 years, on the original motion. Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
I'm going to pass for now, thank you.
Trustee Olson? No. Trustee Keene?
No.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
And Trustee Rozansky?
Does it even matter what I say? I'll say no just for grins.
Got it. Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 yeses, 1, 2, 3 noes, and it passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, number 10 on the agenda. Do I have a motion to go into executive session for the discussion and review of the collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning the salary schedules for one or more classes of employees?
So motion.
Second.
Trustee Rozansky first,
Yes, and then a show.
and then Mrs.
Schoenfeld.
Schoenfeld, thank you. I'm going to take the roll.
Thank you.
Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson? Yes. Trustee Keene?
Yes.
Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
7-0 passes, and the time is?
And the time is 8:14 PM. Thank you.
Thank you.
on, please.
We are returning to open session. The time is 9:43. Cindy, would you please call a roll?
Trustee Derblick?
Here.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Sure.
Trustee McCulick?
Here.
Makula, sorry. Trustee Rosansky?
Here.
Trustee Olson?
Here.
Trustee Keene?
She had to leave.
Trustee Kadir?
Here.
Next item on the agenda, item 11 is other. Just a reminder, other is the time for trustees to make suggestions about items not on the agenda. Trustee Makula.
No comment.
Trustee Schoenfeld.
Just a comment. Thank you, Cindy, for the information about the celebration of women.
You're welcome.
Trustee Rosansky.
Yes, I was also going to mention that there were already 4 events pertaining to the celebration of women, and there's one still coming up on the 29th, where they talk about the Supreme Court Justice. There were 6 female Supreme Court Justices. And I do have other things to talk about. I have 2 other things. Number 1 is the fact our attorney had said that the majority rules, and yet 4, which is the majority of our board, wanted to have 2 items put on the agenda, and Madam President took them off. Okay, and number 2, this board has been asked multiple times to please wear masks if they are sick. And yet, last month, when I forgot my mask, one of our members went to the executive session and proceeded to cough up a lung. Thanks to that person, I was sick for 7 days. Thank you, Madam President.
Oh, but I wasn't sick.
No, you just coughed up a lung.
Right, because I speak through the entire meeting. Sorry.
Oh, whatever.
But thank you. And just a correction, Trustee Rosansky, you mentioned that something about 4 people are a majority, and you asked for some items to be placed on the agenda. Once again, the agenda is determined by the president.
No, it's
and
not.
And if items are not included, that's how that happened. It has nothing
And
to do
the
with
truth
4.
of the matter is, our attorney stated the majority rules. So if you want to go according to that, that's fine, Madam President.
Once
but
again,
let's
Trustee
get-
Rosansky, you can't insert statements where they don't apply. Please follow the guidelines for the board meetings.
You insert statements all the time, Madam President.
Trustee
Thank you.
Olson, do you have anything?
No.
Thank you, Trustee Keene.
She's not here.
Trustee Kadir?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask one question. Was there any response to the letter from the CAC?
Are you asking Cindy?
Yes.
Who is
Any response?
Yeah.
Keene?
I mean,
This letter is the one that came yesterday, or which letter?
I'm trying to remember when it came. Hold on. I'll have to check my email. Just give me 1 second.
Because when that public comment was made, I wasn't sure what they were talking about.
Yeah. I think it was yesterday. Hold on. Let me just check my email. 1 second. Yeah, I'll just pull the comment because I'm not finding the email
Yeah, I
the
know.
timing.
Or that you're sure I was copied on the email, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, let me withdraw the comment.
Okay.
All right,
Strike the
thank
comment
you.
from the record.
Thank you.
So,
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn the regular board meeting of March 15, 2023?
So motion.
Second.
Thank you. Cindy, please call the roll.
Okay,
Was
so,
Eddie and Sue.
Yes.
okay. Trustee Derblick?
Yes.
Trustee Schoenfeld?
Yes.
Trustee Makula?
Yes.
Trustee Rozansky?
Yes.
Trustee Olson? Yes. Trustee Keene absent. Trustee Kadir?
Yes.
Okay.
Carolyn, can you turn your mic on?
The regular board meeting of March 15, 2023 is adjourned at 9:49 PM.